Mario should be behind bars in Mario Kart World. And I can prove it to you because Mario Kart World gives us the tools we need to make real-life measurements in-game, a feat that would have had MatPat shedding tears of joy. But let's take a step back. Why should Mario be in jail in the first place? Well, it turns out he's speeding, and not just speeding, but he's blowing over Crown City's speed limit 3 times over. In Mario Kart World, the game actually keeps track of how many kilometers a player drives. If you know anything about basic physics, then you'd know that speed equals distance over time. So to calculate Mario's speed, all we need to do is measure that distance over the time it took to drive it. Easy enough, right? Well, although the game keeps track of your kilometers, it doesn't do too much of a good job at it. It only captures when you've traveled through milestones like 100 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers, and it doesn't let you know when you did it. So for you to figure out how far you've traveled, you'd have to exit single player mode and go to the sticker collection in the main menu, which contains your driving data. This is no good, because we can't time ourselves if we don't know when we hit a certain milestone. But luckily for us, this is where free roam mode comes into the rescue. In free roam, when you hit a milestone, you get notified immediately, which is huge because now all we need to do is measure the time it took to get between 2 milestones and then plug those into our equation to get our speed. But there's another problem. At a certain point, milestones become too few and far between to reliably test with. For example, it takes about an hour to drive 100 kilometers. And not only that, but while you're driving those 100 kilometers, you're gonna have to avoid things like coins, speed boosts, and even hammer bros throwing hammers at you. Anyway, for us to measure speed, we're gonna need an easily repeatable test. So here's what we'll do. First, we have to find a track that has no bumps, no speed boosters, or anything that alters Mario's speed. We also want to avoid coins, because those affect Mario's speed too. Luckily, I found a pretty easy track in Crown City that fits this entire description. Moving on, we'll create a new game file by creating an unlinked Switch 2 account. This way, we start fresh with 0 kilometers traveled, which means that our tests will only be 5 kilometers long because 5 kilometers is the first milestone that you get in Mario Kart World. As with any good science experiment, I'm making a few accounts so that we can repeat the experiment multiple times. Finally, we just load the game, and before we do anything else, we just immediately teleport to Crown City. This will start us off in an idle position, which will be useful for later when we get the speed of some other characters. Without further ado, let's run our first test, and we're going to stop the timer when we get notified that we've driven 5 kilometers. If you'd like to skip ahead, go right on to the next chapter of the video. Otherwise, while you're watching the track, I'd much appreciate a like and a subscription because I'm trying to get to 2K subs by the end of the month. And there we have it. It takes us about 2 minutes and 14 seconds to get to 5 kilometers. Now, before we analyze how fast that is, we need to clarify a few things about the test. It's not 100% accurate, which is why we need to do a few trials. For example, there are some short moments throughout the track that you can hear the motor slowing down because I have to take a sharp turn. But these moments are short enough where they're negligible to the calculation. After running the test a few more times, it was clear to me that the time it takes Mario to reach 5 kilometers is hovering around the 2 minute and 14 second mark, which means the track takes 134 seconds. Now we have every number that we need to fill out our equation for Mario's speed. Remember though, right now we have kilometers and seconds, but we want our answer to be in kilometers per hour. So to get our real answer, we also have to multiply our result by 3,600 so that we get a whopping 134 kilometers an hour. That is insane. For you burger eaters out there, that's roughly 84 miles an hour. Now I know what you're all thinking. Sure, Mario goes 84 miles an hour, but how fast does the fastest character in the game go? We all know that not all characters were created equal. And not only that, but not all karts were created equal either. So how fast is the fastest combination of character and kart? Well, to figure that out, all we need to do is run the same experiment with the character combo that has the highest speed stat. That should be Bowser with any car that has this speed. But in my testing, there's actually a few combinations that I found to have the same top speed as Bowser, assuming you're driving on the correct track. For example, although Cow is slower than Bowser, it has a hidden terrain boost when you drive it on rough tracks like Moo Moo Meadows. This boost actually makes Cow have exactly the same top speed as Bowser. But the best part is that it actually accelerates faster. So despite not having the fastest speed stat, Cow actually dominates Bowser on certain tracks with certain karts, and I think that's beautiful. So after racing with Cow on an off-road track like Farm, I found that it clears 5 kilometers in 2 minutes and 12 seconds, which is 2 seconds faster than Mario. And so, reapplying our equation from earlier with this new time yields that Cow's top speed is 136 kilometers or 85 miles per hour. That's barely faster than Mario, so both characters are viable online, but in a time trial, every second counts. And there we have it. Now we know the fastest baseline speeds for both Mario and for the fastest characters in the game. But how does top speed in Mario Kart compare to go-karts in real life? Well, based on a quick online search, it looks like the top speed of a typical 150cc go-kart is just a little over 60 miles an hour, with some actually reaching the 80 mile per hour range. So Mario's speed is actually realistic. And yes, you heard that right. Even real-life go-karts are categorized by CC as well. But what does CC mean? Well, gas-powered cars work by causing mini explosions in these things called pistons inside the engine. CC is just a measure of how much space the pistons take up in cubic centimeters, and the more space available, the bigger the explosions that take place, which usually, but not always, leads to higher speeds. If you like this video, you'll love this one I made about the origin of might crystals in Echoes of Wisdom. A good time to watch, especially with all the people replaying Echoes of Wisdom right now. So make sure to like this video and subscribe, as I'm trying to get to 2,000 subs by the end of the month. Thank you guys for watching.